terrorist regime in Iran with Operation Epic Fury.
War is hell. War is chaos. And as we saw yesterday with the tragic crash of our KC-135 tanker, bad things can happen.
As Operation Epic Fury enters its third week, signals from Washington suggest preparations for a declaration of victory. However, the reality on the ground remains far more complex. Strategic assessments confirm that the Iranian Navy has been largely neutralized, missile stockpiles have taken a severe hit, and the high-level leadership has suffered significant losses. Despite this, Tehran has not yet raised the white flag. While President Trump states that the goals of the operation are within reach, the regime remains standing and is determined to play its final cards. Specifically, uranium stockpiles and the mobilization of regional proxy forces make transforming military success into a political solution difficult. In recent evaluations, Trump emphasized that he alone controls the timing of the war's conclusion. "I'll end it when I feel it in my bones." Yet, the cost of this feeling is measured by daily rising logistical expenses and escalating regional tensions. Iran's most critical oil terminal, Kharg Island, was virtually erased from the map by the bombardments of previous days. However, recent leaks from military sources suggest this destruction may not be deemed sufficient. The administration has adopted a harsh rhetoric, suggesting they might strike the island a few more times just for the fun of it to ensure it remains permanently non-functional. This statement is not just a military strategy. It is the strongest message yet to global energy markets. The neutralization of Kharg Island has severed the jugular vein of the Iranian economy, but it has also triggered asymmetric attacks by Tehran against other oil facilities and shipping routes in the region. The facilities of Gulf allies are now under direct threat. While the smoke from Kharg still rises, radar screens across the region are on high alert, waiting to intercept the next wave of retaliation at any moment. While diplomatic activity increases, reports indicate the White House is rejecting current peace proposals. Trump admitted that the Iranian side seems ready to make a deal, but stated clearly that the offered terms were not good enough. This stance has ignited a major debate in domestic politics. Some lawmakers suggest an exit strategy to prevent further economic damage, while the hawk wing of the administration argues that the Iranian regime's capacity must be completely zeroed out. Especially with midterm elections approaching, rising gas prices and military casualties are increasing political pressure. However, Trump maintains that the pressure on the ground is starting to bear fruit and will not sit at the table without total surrender. This strategic stubbornness proves that Epic Fury is no longer just an air operation, but has become one of the greatest psychological wars in history. The Strait of Hormuz continues to tighten like a noose around the neck of the global economy. Trump issued a stern call to allies, stating that countries consuming oil from the strait must send their own warships. "We will help, but you must protect that road." This call sent shockwaves through Gulf allies, as critical storage centers like Fujairah in the UAE have been rocked by drone attacks. Countries like Bahrain and Saudi Arabia are forced to intercept dozens of drones in the air every day using their own defense systems. Commercial vessels are completely changing their routes due to skyrocketing insurance costs and drone boat attacks. Hormuz is not currently impassable, but has turned into an undefendable risk zone. Trump's escort strategy aims to establish a global naval coalition, but most capitals are hesitant to dive directly into this fire. Since the start of Epic Fury, gasoline prices in the U.S. have surged by 25%. This situation triggers everything from transportation costs to fertilizer and food prices. While central bank officials lean toward keeping interest rates steady, the economic uncertainty created by the war has paralyzed the markets. Analysts in Washington warn that if Trump delays a victory declaration, domestic discontent could overshadow military success. Increasing input costs in the agricultural sector are sparking serious reactions in the Midwest. Trump continues to market this situation as short-term pain for long-term security. However, as oil prices race toward $200 per barrel, it remains a major question how long this short-term process can be sustained. The economic frontline is becoming just as volatile as the military one, with the American consumer caught in the crossfire. U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy announced today that the government is preparing a federal insurance plan to facilitate ship passages through the Strait of Hormuz. This comes following the Trump administration's pledge to escort oil tankers through the strategically critical waterway. Speaking on Sunday Morning Futures, Duffy stated, "I think we're going to get to a point where we provide insurance for the ships in the strait." He added that once there is more clarity on security risks, partner nations are expected to join the effort. According to Duffy, the insurance component is already good to go, while the military evaluates the timing for escort operations. When asked about a timeline, he noted it could be as soon as a day or a week, pending a final assessment by General Dan Kane. The war is not limited to Iranian soil. In the last 24 hours, intense airstrikes were carried out against the southern suburbs of Beirut and along the Syrian border. Sources on the ground report that these strikes aim to sever the ammunition lines of Iranian proxy forces. In Iraq, the situation is even more dire. Drone attacks on military bases at Baghdad Airport and refineries in Erbil threaten the logistical security of the operation. Strategic points like the U.S. Embassy and Camp Victory are in the crosshairs of pro-Iranian militias. This multi-front pressure is causing the Pentagon to overextend its resources. Despite the wounds taken on the mainland, Iran is sending a message through its asymmetric power. If I go down, you all go down with me. This situation proves that epic fury has long exceeded the dimensions of the surgical operation originally planned. On the 16th day of the operation, military casualties can no longer be hidden. Including the KC-135 tanker crash, the number of American service members lost has risen to 13, with over 140 personnel wounded. These figures represent the most intense combat environment of the last 2 decades. Pentagon reports warn that extreme fatigue among personnel is beginning to lead to operational errors. The constant flight tempo of the Air Force has reduced aircraft maintenance windows to 0. Iran is taking advantage of this fatigue, using its drones and cruise missiles as a low-intensity but constant pressure tool. Although 90% of the attacks are intercepted, that leaking 10% is dealing heavy damage to the energy infrastructure of allies. This is a phase where it's not just the bullets running low, but the nerves running thin. The next 48 hours will determine whether the Trump administration will declare victory. On one side is Iran's crippled military capacity. On the other is an energy crisis holding the global economy hostage. Tehran is trying to use its remaining cards, uranium stockpiles, and mining capacity in Hormuz, at the bargaining table. Trump says he will continue to strike until conditions improve. But the question is, when will those conditions improve? Will Epic Fury go down in history as the operation that ended the terror regime, or will it be the trigger for a global economic collapse? Here at the Military Report, we will continue to monitor every spark on the ground. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and analyze the next move on the world's most dangerous chessboard with us. Thank you for watching, and stay strategic.